guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm just here today to do a bit of a play around really with something that I've been wanting to do for absolutely ages, and just kept on putting off doing other things, and it seemed a little bit of a faffy kind of messy thing to do, so I just hadn't got around to it. So I'm going to make some fabric envelopes. I'm going to be using Mod Podge, and what I have done is I've just taken some fabrics which I've just cut to a smaller size. Now I haven't cut them accurately or anything like that, but I'm going to cut them down to 6x6 size to make the envelopes. So all I've done is make them a more manageable size initially, just to be able to work with. So all I'm going to do is actually try and stiffen my fabric up to be able to make the envelopes. Obviously this is a new thing for me. I haven't tried this before. So I don't know, obviously, if this is going to work. I hope it is, especially as I'm doing it on film, but we'll see. So you guys have possibly done this before. I'm always amazed at the fantastic things that you've all tried that I have yet to try. So I might be doing something that you've all done, hundreds of times before. So all I'm doing is Mod Podging my fabric like that, and I've got a big brush just to make it nice and easy for putting the Mod Podge on. As you can see, I am just pouring the Mod Podge straight onto the fabric like that, and obviously I've put it just onto a piece of paper there to paint it on. So oops, I'll just peel that off so it's not quite so stuck to the paper, and then I'm going to obviously leave that to dry. So I'm just going to do that now with all three of my fabrics that I've brought along. So just take the second one, and exactly the same, just going to pour the Mod Podge on and then just spread it out all over the entire fabric. Aren't these the most lovely fabrics? These were gifted to me by Laura in one of her Happy Mails, and again, I have been hoarding them, and it's just silly. I'm trying to not hoard things really so much now, so I'm trying to actually make use of things, because obviously what's the point in having things if we don't use them? I don't know what it is about, if things are gifts, I don't know about you guys, I don't want to then use them. If things are very pretty, I don't want to use them. If I'm down to maybe my last piece of something, I don't want to use it. It's just crazy. So I'm trying to get out of that particular habit, because it's, not really great, is it? So that's that piece of fabric. I don't think I've made a very good job of that. The fabric was moving around a lot more than the other piece. And then the final piece I've got here, I mean, again, I probably really should have ironed this before doing this, but never mind. And I'm sure that would have helped with it not moving around on the paper as well. And you could probably put it on something better than a piece of paper. You could probably put it on, greaseproof paper, on, like an oven tray or something like that. Or you could do it onto, like this, the worktop saver thing that I've got here. I mean, not mine, because obviously it's really messy, but I'm sure there's loads of different things that you could use for putting your fabric on, and paper, I'm sure, is a pretty poor choice really, but because I've wanted to do this for absolutely ages, and I finally today thought, right, I'm going to do that. I just wanted to get on and do it really, and couldn't be bothered really to find something to be putting the fabric on and what have you, so I just thought I would just get on and just do it regardless. Right, so I'm going to leave these obviously to dry, and then I will be back. I don't know yet whether I'm going to need to paint the other sides of the fabric or whether actually this will stiffen it up sufficiently. So I will let you know once I come back with this dried. Right, I am back with my pieces of fabric. Now I have to be completely truthful and say that these are not 100% dry. I could have really done with leaving them for a bit longer, but I'm not very patient, so I couldn't wait. So I've come back with them now, and I may live to regret it when my envelopes turn out disastrous and smudgy because I haven't waited for them to dry. But never mind. Right, so what I've got here is obviously a 6x6 piece of paper. This is just going to be my template. That's all I'm using this for. So I'm going to cut around the piece of paper. Oh, by the way, yes, just a bit of an update because I said I wasn't sure whether it needed Mod Podge on the back as well. I personally think they're nicely stiff now. They're not too stiff, they're just kind of bendable, which I will show you in a second. So I personally don't think they need the back Mod Podging, because I think then they would maybe end up pretty rigid, which, you know, we don't really want envelopes that are like cardboard, do we? So that's a little 6x6 piece of fabric, and this is what I mean. You can probably hear, and if I just bend that, can you see it's just rigid enough to take the folds, compared to obviously, just grabbing a scrap of fabric, you know, fabric, I mean, obviously I can fold that like that, and then it's just, you know, it's not held the fold at all, where this is stiff enough now that it's holding the fold, if that makes sense. Right, so I move all my little scrappy pieces out of the way, and then we'll just cut 2 more. So I'll just use this now as my template. And I have to be honest that actually, in hindsight, probably stripes were not the best thing to use for this, because obviously they're not going to be very forgiving when I'm cutting, are they? And you know, if they're not very square, that's going to just show up like a sore thumb. But never mind. You know, until you come to do these things, you don't necessarily think. Well, I don't anyway. I mean, I'm sure that lots of people do, and probably lots of you, even when you saw me start out at the beginning of the video, probably thought, oh my gosh, what's she doing? Why is she doing it like that? But it didn't occur to me, so yeah, next time. So here we've got the flowers. So excuse me, I've got got a frog in my throat now. Here we've got the flower piece, and that obviously is not striped, so let me just use one as a template because that might be a bit better. Now the flowers were obviously the last one that I painted with the Mod Podge, so they're the most floppy, the least dry. I did try and obviously dry them with my heat tool. I have to say my heat tool's not brilliant. I bought it just before my holiday, and I mean, actually somebody did say to me, oh, that's rubbish, you know, take it back. I just literally ran out of time before our holiday, and it's annoying. I wish I had taken it back now, really, because it's not very good. In fact, I keep wondering whether it was actually a customer return. You know, kind of sometimes someone might have had it, maybe even something went wrong with it, or perhaps they bought it and something was wrong with it. I'm going to keep this because I may want to use this for something else, and actually I'm going to keep this piece as well. I don't know what I would use them for, but you know, I'll just put them here. They'll be in amongst my desk ephemera for future videos, so you may see me pull them out another time. Right, there's my 6x6 pieces of like paper fabric now. So again, I look up my 6x6 paper size on my punch board. Now, I have got a photo of this on my iPad, but stupidly, obviously I'm now filming with my iPad, so I can't now check the photo to see what size I need. And I have said before, I mean, my only complaint with this is obviously how tiny the print is. So, excuse me, I've just had to take this off to the side to view it right under the light because I really can't see it all. Hold on. Oh gosh, I still can't see. Oh, I might have to stop the video again and actually double check that measurement because I really can't see, I'm afraid. So I will be back in a minute. Right, 2 5/8 is where the little thing should be. So finally, what I should do is actually write that on to the back with a Sharpie. Let's see whether I've got one right now. Sorry, I know this is not much fun for you guys, but oh, never mind. I will. I'll do it another time. Right, 2 5/8. So I think that's there. I mean, even those are quite small. So I'm just going to punch that for my first one, and obviously, whoops, do the score. Again, obviously I haven't made these envelopes before. I don't know how well this, you know, stiffened paper fabric is going to actually work. So I'm going to twist that around and we'll do the other 2 5/8 here. And again, just run that score line down. Okay, oops. The only thing is, obviously, where this is not quite dry. Now, what have I done? What have I done here? I've done something wrong with my punch board. This is just a how not to craft, I'm afraid. Right. Okay. Let's do that there. Oh my gosh. It's quite stiff, obviously, to punch through. You know, because it's not paper now. Well, not paper now. It never was paper, obviously, but how to... You see, I'm struggling to see my my score line because it's obviously on that flower. Oh, let's hope that I'm just in roughly the right vicinity. Yeah, so this maybe is not a brilliant tutorial. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on here, just going to attempt to round my flap. And I think obviously this is not working brilliantly because my napkin, sorry, my fabric is still quite wet. It's not quite dry enough really for this task. So let me just pop that down, fold this in on my score lines. Fold this one up. And this one in as well. Okay. Okay, so something like that. Now, obviously, if you want to just round your, you know, that piece of the bottom flap, then you can do that as well. So I'm going to take my, it's actually 3-in-1, it's not Fabri-Tac, but I'm going to glue my envelope together. I mean, it is a shame. I should really have used more patience and waited properly for it to dry. Oh, patience is not really my strong point. And obviously I do get caught out quite often. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to then press my folds down now. Again. Hopefully I'm not going to actually glue the envelope together now. And then my little flap there. Oh, how cute is that? Really cute. So let's do our other two quickly. Let's hope that I make a better job of doing those. It was 2 5/8, wasn't it? So 2 5/8. Okay. do the score. Now really, I should have my paper, I think, upside down, you know, to do the scores. And for some reason I just never do. Don't know why. Sometimes I just think I've got a scatty way. Well, I don't think that sometimes, I think that all the time. You know, I seem to do things back to front, and it's not always that helpful. Oh gosh, that bit was obviously really quite soggy. So I've not made a very good job of that. Right, so obviously if you're going to do any of these, I mean, you probably won't now because you'll have been so put off by my horrendous video, but if you are going to, then probably the good tip would be wait until your fabric is completely 100% dry. Don't try to cut corners by doing it beforehand, because these types of things are going to happen. Right, let me just pop that to the side. We'll do our final one. Oops. So again, 2 5/8. See, instantly I've just put that, again, you know, fabric pattern side up. And even though I've just that second said, it would be better fabric, you know, pattern side down. Now this one is really tricky to see where that fold is. So I'm going to struggle with this. Perhaps I can do it by feel instead. Probably there. Okay. Oh gosh, this is quite fiddly. Now I know why I put off doing these for so long. But I just wanted to try them. I just thought they looked so cute. Now I can't remember, to be truthful, where I actually saw these. Oh gosh, I've lost my score line again. Let me try and again line that up. It's really hard to see on this fabric. So again, I'm going to try and do it by feel, I think. Yeah. I think I saw them on Pinterest. And my gosh, I mean, when I say a long time ago, it was probably like over a year ago. And you know when you think, right, I'm going to try that when I get a chance. Oh my gosh, I cannot punch through this one at all. So let me just stand up. Nope, that's not going to work. Right, I'm going to have to do that one by hand, I think. So let's do last one. Oh my gosh, come on. Did I not score that one? Oh, I didn't score it because I couldn't fold it. I couldn't punch it, so I didn't score it in the end. So, right, back to the drawing board. Oh, this is just like a disastrous video. I'm actually standing up now. I'm going to give that one more try. Oh, finally. Now, you see, again, not really great, but never mind. Right, find my score line here, because again, I'm not going to be able to really see this. And again, try and line that up somehow, like that. Okay. And again, just score down. Okay, right, got there in the end. Thank goodness. Thank goodness that's over. Okay, right. Let's use the neat side here for my little flap. And we didn't do that for this one either. So, which is the neat side? Probably that one. So, okay. Oh my gosh. That was just, wow. Well, just one of those, please don't do it my way. Basically, do not do this. Okay, right, we're done. Let me cut this little notch out now. Now this is where I'm going to obviously make a horrendous job of this as well. So, hold on. Okay, let me just round that slightly. Okay, right. Oh, I'm all out of breath now. Oh, now I need to neaten this one up as well, because look, I forgot that we have one there that also didn't really kind of come out. Right, let's just chop that down there. Okay, and I'm just going to round that slightly. Okay, right, we're done. Finally, we're done. So I'm going to just now fold my flaps in. There's 1, 2, and my bottom one. And again, I'm just going to tidy this up here by just, you know, making it look more like a conventional envelope. I can glue my envelope together. I mean, of course, you don't have to use your envelope punch board. You could just do some freehand envelopes like we've done in the mass making. Yeah, I mean, maybe actually in hindsight, the punch board was not the best tool for the fabric, because anywhere that the fabric was quite floppy still, i.e. if it was at all wet, or, you know, if just the Mod Podge wasn't on that thick, it obviously wasn't really wanting to punch through. Yeah, so you may want to obviously just do it like freehand, you know, freestyle. That's probably better, to be honest, than using the punch board. Right, so we've got those, and then we've got these two. These two? This one. Right, all exhausted from the exertion of the punch board now. Okay, and we just fold that up. Don't you just absolutely hate it when you do a video and it's just a disaster? I mean, obviously I should have really practiced, you know, and done a practice run of this before filming, but I don't know about you guys, you know. I mean, I've said before, like with the mass making, I don't overly make normally lots of one thing, although I am getting much better since doing the mass making. So if I had made a couple practicing, I probably would have exhausted my interest, you know, for a little while anyway. I mean, I would maybe go back to them in, you know, a few weeks or a few months or something like that. But for the moment, I probably would have exhausted my interest in making these, and I wouldn't really then want to do the video. So that's why, you know, even though this just looks horribly awful and scatty, it's better for me to do it this way, because at least I then actually am still up for the up for the thing that I have set out to do. Right, oh my gosh. So here are my little fabric envelopes, like that. How cute do they look? Now what we're going to do, and again, this is where I really should have left my envelopes to dry for longer, however I didn't, so I don't know whether I'm going to actually muck them up completely by trying to ink them now. Hopefully it will be okay. So this one looks okay so far. Okay, and I'm going to fold the flap down, because obviously your inkiest bits would be typically around the folded parts and the edges, wouldn't they? So that way you're just making the ink slightly stronger across the folds. And then I'm just going to do obviously the other side. Just ink that up. I like the feel of these now. I mean, to say that they're resembling oilcloth, that's not true. They're not resembling oilcloth, but they've got that kind of thing going on. I mean, they're not like oilcloth, but they have got that sort of leaning towards oilcloth. They're not glossy, obviously, like oilcloth, but they've got something going on that's similar. Right, Now, beside me here, let me just reach for it, I have got some of my printed pieces that I've done a tutorial on the printing on fabric before. So I'm just going to take something from here, and as you can see, I mean, this is still on the label background, you know, from the actual printing process. And of course, you don't have to now use fabric on your fabric envelope. You could use paper, you could use anything, you know. I'm just using these because they happen to be sat beside me and I just thought, oh, I could use those. They would look really good. So that's that one. I'm just going to ink it up. It's a little bit brighter than I would have chosen really for this particular envelope, but we'll see how it looks. I mean, I might not go with this, I might use something else, but just see. Oh, that looks quite pretty now, doesn't it? Yeah. So if I just have that, and then I'm just seeing what else I've got laying around. Ooh, not that. Not that. Let me see what else. Got a bit of lace. We could just have a little bit kind of hanging off to the side. So if I just trim off a bit of that. It's quite pretty, isn't it? And I just feel if I go for that, because that is quite bright, I may need to put something that's pink on there to pull the pink in. So I'm just having a rummage about and seeing, got some of my little paper flowers here. Just seeing, no, not that one. Seeing whether I've got anything. Oh, no, that's wrong. Okay, let's have another look around. I have got some fabric. I could just try backing it onto sort of piece of fabric here. Maybe that would help bring it in. So let me just try it on here for a minute. If I just ink around that fabric now. Oops, that went very dark, didn't it? Just ink this up like this, I think. This fabric's very annoying because it's that crinkly fabric. Can you see? It's just, every time I'm inking, it's just moving. Let's just trim that down. Obviously, I don't want it, you know, straight as such. Just have a look. Maybe that's just not the right piece for that envelope. Cut this down here. Might just be that that's just not quite right for there. Let me ink this one. Maybe that's the wrong piece. Maybe, I mean, I picked that piece because it was obviously landscape really rather than portrait, and I just thought I needed something landscape really rather than portrait. But if it's the wrong piece, it's the wrong piece, you know, regardless of the shape it is. I mean, we could, I guess, have it that way, or couldn't we? Let me ink this one up now. Would have that and just have that on there. Maybe a little bit of lace there going to the side. And then do we want anything else? Like, got some little flowers here. Pop on a little flower, that's quite cute, isn't it? So I'm going to first of all take this off of that label sheet, because that's obviously how I printed. So the tutorial is in my tutorials playlist. If you missed that, or if you don't know how to print on fabric, I mean, it was something that I had wanted to do for a really long time, and I kept putting it off because I couldn't imagine it would be working. And I was so flabbergasted at how brilliant it was. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, if you wanted to have a look at the tutorial, it's a very fun thing to do, and the results, I mean, I thought personally, were just unbelievable. So much better than I had expected. Right, I'll just spread this out. Not doing very well here. I'm obviously in a clumsy mode today. Like very, ugh. Just some days worse than others, aren't we? And well, I am. I'm not saying we, because probably you're perhaps not. But I definitely am. So today's one of those clumsy days. And we could have like a little flower there. What do you think? Oops. It's quite sweet, isn't it? I can't decide. Right, I'm going to come back to this one, I think. So let me move that out the way. I'm going to go on to this one, because I'm going to use one of these florally pieces, which I just hopefully I think are going to look awesome on here. So that one. Okay, so we'll ink this up. And actually, do you know what? I'm just thinking what I could have done was Mod Podged these fabric pieces so they were also stiff like the envelopes. I think that would have been really awesome. So I may have to do that. I mean, I could probably just do that once it's stuck down, to be honest, because it would just stiffen up as it dries, wouldn't it? So again, I'm just going to fold my flap down and then focus a little bit more where the fold actually is, like that. And then I'll just open it and obviously ink the other side. So if we had that one and that, like that, and then what I might do, bear with me, I'm just going to grab my vintage postage stamps. Isn't that tin so sweet? So, hold on. Now, for some reason, when I bought these, I hadn't really noticed at first, but they were mainly blue and purple, which, I mean, blue and purple are really lovely, aren't they? But, and I seem to have mislaid all of my other vintage stamps. And I mean, I know you're probably thinking, if you have seen my desk by now, well, is she, you know, is it any wonder she's lost those? But I know this is hard to believe. I'm actually sort of secretly organised, you know, in organised chaos. So although my desk is a tip, there's no getting away from that. I do generally know where most things are. Certainly, I mean, my postage stamps, I always knew they were just over there under a load of stuff. So I suspect what's happened is they've fallen down the back of the desk and they're now floating around on the floor in amongst all manner of rubbish. So who knows whether they will ever, quite frankly, be found again. Right, So that one, it's just coming together for me a lot better than the other one for some reason. So maybe I had the wrong piece for the other one. So I just use my, you know, what is effectively Fabri-Tac. So come on. Oh, come on. Let me try and get those big blobs off the end. So obviously be prepared, because now I will be sticking on everything, because I've dared to put my hands on the glue itself. Oh my gosh. I'll try and wipe them off onto a piece of paper sticking out of my bin. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to press that down using my wipe. And then this one here, I'm just going to peel this off of the backing. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh no, come on. Okay. Right, like that. I'm going to just pop that on there. And then I think I am going to Mod Podge over that, to be honest. In fact, perhaps I should just Mod Podge that now. What do you think? I'm going to Mod Podge that now. It may dry before the end of the video, judging by the length of time it's taken me to do the video. So let's just quickly Mod Podge that there. You know, because then that's going to be the same as the envelope. So, right. Okay. Move that stuff out of the way. Okay, right. Let me move this out of the way now. Right, so I'm going to come back to this one, obviously, hopefully when that's dry, which I'm really praying that that is going to dry before the end of the video. So let's move on to this one, as I was struggling so much with the other one. So again, I'm just going to ink this one up. And actually, let's try some paper on this one, because maybe I needed something papery instead. So maybe that's where I've been going wrong. So just fold my flap down. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're all managing to get some crafting in. Excuse my terrible, terrible tutorial here. Oh, just what goes on, I have no idea. Just think sometimes we have better days than others, and clearly this is one of those how not to do days. So yeah, I probably really shouldn't have come along and switched the camera on. I'm just going to trim that round, because obviously that didn't really go brilliantly. Yeah, this is just one of those days. I really shouldn't have actually switched the camera on, but obviously I was dying to do these envelopes and I wanted to share it with you guys, you know, so hence I'm now doing it, and thinking in hindsight I really shouldn't be. Okay, so I'm having a rummage now on my desk to see what I've got here that we could use. Right. For some reason I've been saving this piece of paper, which again, why would I be saving it? I have no idea. So we could pop that on. I mean, I did quite like that flower actually. Let me just quickly cut this flower out. So this is just one of the background pages from my Gorgeous Girls kit. And as I say, I mean, it's been buried on my desk for ages, and I've picked it up loads of times. Don't ask me why I would be hoarding that, because obviously, why? You know, I could just print some more. Yeah, I have no idea. But just sometimes just do completely irrational things. You know, with literally no rhyme or reason for it. So I think something like that is quite nice. I think what I've been doing is obviously I've been trying to make them look like addresses, and maybe that's where I've been going wrong. Maybe I should have just gone with they're not actually envelopes, you know, make them just look decorative instead of trying to make them look like they've got addresses on when clearly they don't have. You know, clearly they're not actual real live envelopes. So again, I'm just grabbing random stuff that's just here amongst me. Like that. Now, I do want to have, I think, one more thing because it's just looking slightly plain over here. So what about some sheet music? Let's just have a look. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Yep, I'm going to go with it like that. So just going to ink this up here. Oops. So that looks nice and grungy. Just going to pop this on with the, you know, what is effectively the Fabri-Tac. I mean, it's that 3-in-1, and just in case you missed me saying a few videos back, but I gave it a try because I had watched a Nick the Booksmith video where she talked about the Fabri-Tac, and she just said she personally can't see what's the difference between the Fabri-Tac and the 3-in-1. And the 3-in-1 just, you know, was marginally cheaper than the Fabri-Tac. So I just thought, wow, any saving is a saving, isn't it? So, you know, that's why I've bought that instead this time. Okay, just pop the flower on like that. And then I'm going to have the postage stamp up here. So, oh, I don't really need to, oh, actually I do. I was thinking I don't need to stick that down with fabric glue, but actually they're fabric envelopes, aren't they? How could I have forgotten? So I'm just going to put the stamp there, like that. And then I'm going to put this little piece of, oh my gosh, look at me. Just got stuff hanging around all over. Just going to put this piece of lace down the bottom, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on a postage mark. Now okay, I've got them now. It's probably a bigger one than I would have actually chosen to use, but it's just the one that I had closest, so we'll just use that. So just going to stamp that across there like that. Oh, how cute is that? And then could always finish it off as well with maybe a bit of bling. Just look. I mean, it probably doesn't really need it, but just give it a try. Just see. Okay. Put that down. Oh, that one's gorgeous, isn't it? Really like that. So yes, I'm definitely not liking this one. So I'm going to scrap this altogether, I think. And let's do something similar to what we did on the last piece. So I've got that. I'm going to just take that blue stamp there. Let's see what else I've got here on my desk. I mean, she's quite nice, but she's a little bit on the big side for that. Hold on. Just rummaging. No, that's like the wrong shape. Hold on. I mean, there must be something here, I'm sure, that I can use. Just have a bit more of a rummage. Oh, got that. That's from one of those gorgeous vintage children's books. Okay. Just found some decoupage napkin ready to make a tag. So I've just chucked that down on my pile of things that are waiting to be finished. See, it's just amazing what can just be picked up when I'm rummaging through things. Right, now this is very unusual, isn't it? But I actually can't find something to use that's here. Okay, right, hold on. Let me move to the pile behind my desk and see what I've got there. Oh, I mean, endless amounts of things. It's just finding the right thing, isn't it? Well, weirdly, just seen some decoupage napkin down there. Now I'm really now winging it here because obviously this is the first time I've done these envelopes, so I do not have the foggiest idea whether this would even work, but I'm kind of thinking perhaps we could decoupage on something from here. So let's have a look. I'll just cut that down. I mean, as I say, this is totally now totally unplanned and off at a tangent. So I do not honestly have the foggiest clue whether this is going to work, whether you can napkin decoupage onto fabric that you've already Mod Podged, who knows, but let's give it a try. Again, a very unplanned video and usually a mistake, so I shouldn't really be doing this, but never mind. Right, going to take that. Now, I've just got some acetate here from my last time of decoupaging. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I will just pop that on there. This is my watered down Mod Podge. So, oops, okay. And for some reason I'm now using this enormous brush because this was the brush I was obviously using to, oh my gosh, look at what I'm doing. Okay, so let's just see how this is going to go. Pop that there. Again, press all around. As I say, this may not work at all. You know, it's very much wing and a prayer here and not ever tried before, so we'll see. Okay, well, so far so good. So I'm just going to paste it down slightly in a couple of areas where it just needed a bit of extra. Okay, let me just pick that up. Check it seems to be stuck down. Wow, that looks lovely, doesn't it? What do you guys think? I really like it. Really like it. So, oops, what have I just dropped? Oh, nothing important. Nothing important. Right. What do you think? I think that's my favourite one. I really, really, really love that. So let me just pop that to one side now whilst that dries for a little bit. So I'll pull this one back in that we obviously were working on. Now, unfortunately, this little piece obviously is not particularly dry. However, let's just go for it and try and stick this down regardless. I mean, obviously, as I say, it's really quite wet, so it's not ideal, but never mind. Never mind. Oops. Otherwise, I just constantly keep stopping and starting the video, and it just gets to be too too protracted really, so I'm just going to try and get on with it. Oh, come on. Just having a look to see how it's going to actually look. I'm going to tear that text off like that. Actually, I wonder if we should have it more like that, and then the stamp up there. Yeah, so I'm just going to stick this one down like that. Okay. Right, now this obviously is pretty wet, so this is definitely how not to do this. But never mind. Let's just work with it anyway. So put that on there. I'm just going to press that down with the wipe. And then the stamp, just going to ink that up a bit more, like that. I'm going to just pop that on there, like that. Oops. Like that. And then I'm just going to, again, do that big postage mark, stamp across. I mean, obviously that's not come out brilliant because this is kind of wettish really, but it's come out okay. You know, you can see enough to see what's happening there. I'll just see if I wanted any bling or anything. No, I think I'm at risk then of confusing things. Maybe a word or something. I mean, there's that word learn. Perhaps I should learn how to do things before I actually come on trying to do them. Okay. So I've got the word treasured here. Just have a look. Oh, that's quite nice. So we just ink that up. And we can just pop that down there to the side, or even actually in the middle. I don't very often put things in the middle, but there's something quite nice about that in the middle there. I don't know why. Right, okay, so that's that one. So obviously very soggy now, so I'm just going to pop that to one side. I'm going to bring this one back in. Now obviously this one is completely saturated because it's, you know, got that napkin on there, which is a bit of a shame because obviously I don't want to have to just stop and dry it again and muck about again. So I'm just going to leave that wet and see whether we could add anything else to it now. So I'm just rummaging through my little bag of laces that's just hung on my desk beside me. Just checking whether I've got anything at all that we could use there. I mean, to be honest, does it? Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? I was going to say, does it need anything? But that just like lifts that completely out, doesn't it? So, right. Let's just take our fabric glue and then just glue this down like that. And then I'm just going to cut that down here. Like that. Okay, pop that now back down. That's done. Obviously we could ink this lace so it's like a bit more grungy, like that. Just to tie it in a bit more. Oh my gosh, that's so yummy, isn't it? It just looks so pretty. Right, let me see whether we want an actual postage stamp. I mean, obviously there are stamps here on the napkin, but I'm just going to just check. So I've got more of these blue ones. I'm going to have to actually rummage around for my vintage stamps. do we want that? Oh, that's nice. That is nice. I thought maybe it would look weird because we've got already 2 stamps on there, but actually it kind of looks quite good over there. So just again, distress that, and then I'm going to pop that on there, like that. Oops. So I'm just going to fabric glue that down, like that. I'm not going to bother with the postage mark stamp. 2 reasons. I don't really think it needs it, and also this is very, very wet and soggy, so I'm not sure how that ink would really take. I suspect it wouldn't really take particularly well at all. So I'm going to just leave it like that, but I hope that you love them. You know, I had good fun. I know it was very like scatty tutorial, so I apologise for that. But I hope that you like the finished pieces. Let me just pop them onto a cleanish piece of paper for you to see them clean rather than in amongst rubbish. They look really pretty, don't they? Actually, just spotted some bling. Oh gosh, I can't not have bling. Don't know what it is, but that just looks so pretty, doesn't it? Right, let's pop the bling on, and then I'm done. Then I'm done. Okay, so I apologise for the scatty nature of the video, and yes, I really should have practiced these before coming on, but I hope that you like them, and I hope you're feeling inspired to make some fabric envelopes. They really are so cute, and they're really nice to touch, because obviously they have a completely different texture to your paper envelopes. I mean, obviously I would recommend waiting for the fabric to dry. You know, I wouldn't recommend my methods. I probably wouldn't really recommend using the punch board. You know, you're better off probably just doing the envelopes freehand. However, I would recommend doing the napkin, because that just looks so cute on there, doesn't it? So yeah, so I hope that you had fun and you like the pieces, and I hope you'll join me again soon. Thanks then. Bye.